Shut up and sit down.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Fight for Liberty show live on Free Speech Media. Today, we've got an awesome show for you guys today. I'm actually super excited. But before we get into that, I have to tell you about a great new thing that we are offering over at Nug of Knowledge. So right now, we're actually doing this sample kit. So if you don't know whether or not you're an indica or a sativa or an in-between kind of person, you can get this sample kit. If you use promo code UNITE, you get 10% off. So this whole thing comes to, it's about three eighths, and it comes to about $20. You can buy it anywhere in the country, get it shipped to your house. So that nugofknowledge.com, promo code UNITE. You can also get these wonderful Delta 8 THC pens. So go over, check that stuff out. But speaking of weed, we actually have a guest on today who's one of my proudest Blunt Circle companions, one of the people that I brag about a lot that I was actually able to meet in New Hampshire while I was up there for Tulsi, Mr. Pasta of the Convo Couch. Craig, how's it going? Thanks for coming on the show.
Wow, man. Thank you so much, bro. You're making me blush and you're giving me ideas. I'm like, why don't I have my own nugget knowledge of over here or something like that? Or I should be selling my own spaghetti sauce or something like that shit and stuff. But and thank you for the great introduction, by the way. I mean, I think it's awesome that we met. I think it's awesome that I'm coming on your show. It's just so funny. I was telling Fam, I was like, Fam, I'm going on a libertarian show today. Because of course you are and stuff like that. Because when I met you guys, when I met a lot of libertarians like yourself that supported Tulsi Gabbard, you know, I held your values, some of the libertarian values, so high, some of the highest. And I identify myself as a leftist libertarian because I'm all about civil liberties, freedom of speech. And right now it's under attack, baby. So thank you to you and all the guys I met out there in New Hampshire and along the way.
To that.
Yeah, libertarians. I believe in half your ideology, and yeah, man. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be on your show, brother.
Well, again, thank you for coming, and thank you for doing what you were doing during Tulsi's campaign. Because without people like you and Fee and Nico, like keeping her stuff. Well, I'll throw out the guys over at the Hill, like Crystal and Sager. Also, like pretty much between the five of you guys, you were keeping her entire campaign alive. As far as in the media, you know, keeping people updated on where she was, what she was doing, what was going on, her actual platform, and not just whatever CNN or MSNBC wanted to spew about her being an Assad apologist or whatever. So, you know, you guys woke me up to the fact that alternative news was really a thing. You know, I knew about alternative media being out there. You know, I was a fan of Joe Rogan's experience and whatnot, and I knew that there were other ways to get information outside of news. But you guys, and especially Nico, were kind of the first people that I watched that tried to copy what the news was like, actually report. You know, I thought long form podcasts like this was my only other option, right? You know, sometimes you don't have 3 hours for a Joe Rogan episode.
I know. I know. And we are trying to be that alternative media. That's exactly what we were trying to be. And you know, it's kind of funny too, because a lot of people say, oh man, it's so great that you kept everybody, you know, their nose to the ground and see what was really going on. But we also asked Tulsi tough questions. Like there are I don't want to say enemies, but critics of Tulsi that used our clips that we did, you know, that we asked her questions, whether it be about Hong Kong, whether it be about Kashmir, whether it be about civil liberties, whether it be about trade policies or anything, you know, stuff. We would always hold her feet to the fire. She knew when she was coming over, and she was always like that. Like she'll take questions, and that was always an amazing thing about Tulsi. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, who's ever here, we're going to have a little gaggle after. You'll all get a question. Don't worry about it. Let's just wait until after the event. And then every single event, we were able to get a question. There was not one event that I went to of Tulsi Gabbard where we didn't get a question. So not only do we, you know, help people and keep her, you know, informed and get to know the real Tulsi and ask her those questions, we also asked her tough questions. You know, we asked her about Council of Foreign Relationships, you know, Council of Foreign Affairs, excuse me. And, you know, I mean, we, like I said, Hong Kong, Kashmir, So, pat ourselves on the back, I guess, because when we went into this thing, we said, we're not going to be biased over here. Yeah, obviously we have our political views, but we're going to ask the tough questions, not the bullshit Assad apologist questions or every single freaking gaggle. Somebody from the mainstream media will go, "Are you going to run third party?" And she's like, finally, by like the last 5 rallies she had, she was like, "No, for crying out loud!" But
right,
yeah.
man, that question annoyed the shit out of me, and it's more ironic that coming from me because as a libertarian, I was part of the party everyone thought she was going to run with, and I would have loved for her to have done that. I actually had a conversation with her twice separately about her joining the Libertarian Party and maybe running. And like, I kind of felt like a jackass talking to her about it because this was, after other people, she already said flat out that she wouldn't, but I wanted to hear it, one-on-one without the press around. Like, is this really a definite no? And even to me, she was like, no, this is, I've been my stance very clear. As much as I respect the Libertarian Party, I'm not going to do that this year, regardless of if I ever even do it. Definitely this year, it's not going to happen. And I was like, okay, it was really nice to see Tulsi be consistent. The questions that you asked her on camera and that I asked her in private, we both got the same responses anytime that I saw that overlap. So that was something really important to me from her campaign for sure.
Well, there's a lot of people out there talking, and they talk about the 2 third parties this time, saying if they're going to get in there and try to force these parties to have good candidates this time, you hear it quite often. Tulsi joining the Libertarian Party to run with Justin Amash, and you hear a lot of people saying, "Well, don't worry, Jesse Ventura is going to join the Green Party and run with Cynthia McKinney." And so you hear the grumblings, and that would be an ideal situation. Now, I'm not crazy about Justin Amash out of those 4 people. He's like the one I think he has TDS, and I mean, he does. He has Trump derangement syndrome badly. He cannot stand Donald Trump and stuff. And I think that kind of mentality sometimes kind of clouch your vision and what you should be saying and what you should be preaching, whatnot. Because if you always hate somebody, then you can never say he has a good idea. And when he does have a good idea, but then you still hate on him, now you've lost all principle and you're all over the map, and it's very, very confusing. We said it from the get-go. One of the guys, Peter Lavelle from Crosstalk, uses an analogy. Balls and strikes. And I like to say that. Balls and strikes. Don't be hypocritical. Call the situation for what it is. Ask the real questions that need to be asked and give the real answer regardless of who says it.
Yep. Amen to that. So I'm curious, what made you decide that there was this need for an alternative out there?
I'm sure you know
Why did you create the Combo Couch?
Yeah, you see the media. It's just trash. The mainstream media is just trash. And, I couldn't understand, how you see a lot of progressives have to go on Fox to try to get interviews during the 2016 campaign. Like, literally, it's like Tim Canova couldn't get on MSNBC or CNN, but maybe one time. Sarah Smith had to go on Fox when she was running against Adam Smith in Washington. So I saw all these progressive candidates at the time that were running in the Democratic Party. But that was that was when we were still thinking, some of us so naive, that we can reform and stuff like that. But, they were just doing such a horrible job that were very biased in their view. You can tell it was a corporately controlled media that was just propagandizing war and putting up their corporate tools in the Congress. And we wanted to get grassroots candidates, more time to interview, to perfect their craft, to get out there, to ask the tough questions to them. I'm saying we wanted to provide an alternative source that would really, actually give the people what they deserve. And that's fair journalism and fair coverage of candidates. I mean, look at Shahid Buttar. Yeah. He was the sole one. He was running against Nancy Pelosi. He was facing her in the general election. He was never on mainstream media. Never. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, they literally protect these Congress members that they're in bed with. They're not the guard dogs. They're the lap dogs. So we had to combat the lap dogs. And we're still combating it to this day with censorship, with the shadow banning, with the demonetizing. It's nuts. I don't know if you know, we got a strike on Saturday, right when we're about to go live on our Julian Assange panel. We've already been demonetized for 7 weeks now on the Combo Couch without any specific reasons. And the whole time, the mainstream media is stealing our footage and using it without even paying for it. You know, from January 6th.
Right.
It's just fucking absurd. So, yeah.
Yeah,
but I think
mean,
that's
I
why
definitely.
we started the
Yeah. Yeah, it really is ridiculous. I can relate. You guys have been doing this a little bit longer than I have, but what I saw, what made me really want to do something like this was a lot of the blatant misinformation that was going on, and the lack of understanding of people. You know how you said right at the beginning about, you know, the amount of things that you and I agree on, and there's so much going on online, you know, especially if you're just in Twitter. We actually talk about this a lot on the show because the Libertarian Party itself just is a cesspool of its own when it comes to Twitter. We see so much of this divisiveness, so much of this misinformation. You think, oh, well, that person supported Bernie, so he must be like a full-blown socialist, big government. He must have the same opinions as Mao does, you know, 100% down the line. He's got to be a Stalinist, like, for sure. And so I wanted to do two things: promote the like real conversations amongst people so that we can talk about, you know, what we actually believe, and also promote the people like yourself who are out there putting in the real work and not just being a keyboard warrior and sitting on Twitter all day, but, you know, out here fighting for freedom with their lives.
Well,
and
thank you, man. That's awesome. I'm glad you decided to jump on in and get with it. I think we had an amazing time in New Hampshire when we hung. And listen, those conversations that we had when we were just all hanging out, those are the real conversations. You know what I'm saying? And we need to continue to have those. And I think that's the beauty of what Tulsi Gabbard really brought to the table. She was like, don't participate in the cancel culture. Don't call people Nazis just because they don't agree with you and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And talk to people who think differently than us. So it brought out this whole different, you know, this poo-poo platter of different types of ideologies and whatnot, and getting to talk to a lot of libertarians. You know, it was really eye-opening, because even though I don't agree with the fiscal policies and whatnot, I sure as hell agree with the civil liberties issue, which, you know, nobody knows it better than the fucking libertarians. Am I allowed to curse? I'm sorry. The fudging libertarians.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. Nobody knows better than the libertarians. So, you know, when you guys talk that,
and that's the important stuff. Right, like that's the stuff that's killing people and getting people locked up and getting like flashbangs thrown out of helicopters on protesters, and, you know, like that's the stuff that actually matters. Really, like even as a full, you know, I'm an anarcho-capitalist basically. I'm a full-blown right-winger when it comes to the economic stuff for the most part, but I don't really give a shit. Like, I would much rather have UBI and Medicare for all, and with no Fed, no foreign wars, no war on drugs, no, like, you know, if we could just wipe clean all of the civil liberties violations and restore the First and Second Amendment, I'm pretty okay with some of y'all's economic policy. I'm willing to make that trade, and I feel like most libertarians should be willing to make that trade, but a lot of them aren't. And so you're 100% right. Tulsi woke a lot of us up to the same thing. It was crazy. Reed Coverdale, who's a good friend of mine, talks about this a lot. Going from Tulsi's campaign, where we agreed with everybody like 70% or so, 75%, you know, on the issues, but where we were working together like no other group that I've been in. You know, just like there was a family, like. Just support, you know, people buying plane tickets for each other, putting people up in their houses. You know, it was a family, and then moving from that into the Libertarian Party, where we agree on 98% of the issues, 95% of the issues at least, and we're tearing each other apart and trying to like take over the party and purge people out of the party and stuff like that. People who we agree on so much more than anyone else in the Tulsi community, but people were taking bullets, like people would have taken bullets for other people on the Tulsi team.
It was different. It was the spirit of aloha brought in with all the issues and the things that are important stuff. And once again, I'm not going to agree with her all the issues. She said something about recently, like stopping travel from Brazil or some shit like that. And she also was one of the co-signers of I believe it was HB it was an HB 6666, right? You know what I'm saying? Where it could, in an outbreak virus, it kind of has that military mindset, like it's the movie Outbreak, and you could take people away and separate them to get the fucking, pandemic under control. Which I mean, and I get that part, but once again, we can disagree, on issues and stuff like that, and not get our heads chopped off. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So how did you meet Fee?
Funny situation. I was a corporate manager for this one company. That's what I've been doing right before I started the Combo Couch. I'd finally worked my way up for many years in the restaurant business. I was a corporate trainer. What that was is I was in charge of all the training of all waiters, bartenders, managers, everything from the front of the house, everything not the kitchen. Like, it's separated the kitchen. So I'd work myself up to work for these small corporations. They were small, tiny, you know what I'm saying? They were still struggling. They still might not survive this right now. They had multiple restaurants. One company had about 22 restaurants. The other one had about 12 restaurants. And the second one I was doing for the last couple of years, I actually opened up a restaurant in Fiorella. Was one of the waitresses in one of those restaurants. And we just got to talking. I was talking with one of the employees, and I was talking about Bernie Sanders. And really, to tell you the truth, the reason why I was so on the Bernie train was about workers' rights. I was just about workers. I was fed up with what was going on with workers in this country. That's the number one reason I went for Bernie Sanders. Old school Bernie, that now he's just freaking terrible. Somebody was like, you should talk to Fee. I'm like, why? Like, she's into that stuff. She's into politics and whatnot. And I met her. We talked. And I actually had to move back to Florida at the time for about 8 to 9 months, because my stepfather was ill. And when I came back, we just kind of stayed in touch and we talked. We were going to different events. And I had this crazy kind of weird story where I moved in with Ron Placone. You know what I'm saying? I met him at a show, and then he was looking for a roommate, and I was transferring right around the corner. So here I am living with Ron Placone. And then, me and Fiorella just started hanging out, going to shows. And we said, man, by the encouragement of Ron Placone and Graham Elwood, we started the Combo Couch. We just went for it, and it's kind of crazy. Jimmy Dore was on the show today, an amazing show. I never expected my life to be like this. We were wannabe actors, if so, whatnot, and we went to acting schools, theory schools. She studied Meisner. I studied more Stella Adler-ish kind of techniques, and whatever the case may be. But, we didn't think about, both just doing this for a living. It kind of stumbled upon us, and we felt a sense of responsibility. And then next thing you know, we're having production meetings. We said we don't want it to be just a schleppy thing where we turn on a camera and go. We wanted to present the production because we were trained actors and actresses and shit. So, we just went for it. And next thing you know, 3 years later, now I can't get out. now I'm in. So, it's pretty great. It's awesome. Every single time I think about it, I'm blessed. I missed the six-figure salary. I was just starting to get close to it. I was just getting in that range. I had healthcare, company car, everything, the whole 9 yards. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was making good money for the last 3 years of my restaurant career, and I had to bow out. But I did meet Fiorella, and I did start the Combo Couch. So I'm blessed to be where I'm at.
Nice. All right, so I got to ask, why a couch?
You know something? Here's the funny story, too. So we're thinking about a name, right? At the time, I said, Fiorella, I know this guy. His name is Brian Deutsch. He's a good friend of mine. He's in politics. Let's bring him in. He's a DP for movies. So he meets with us, and we actually had a second or third production meeting at the time. We were starting to work up with something. All right, this is what we want it to be. This is what we want to talk about. We want to interview these candidates. This is the roles we take. All right, what are we going to name the show? All right, let's think about it. Our friend Brian Deutsch, who couldn't come to do the Combo Couch with us, gave us a recommendation because I was all about location. For me, that was one of the most important things. Like I said, I didn't want to just turn on the freaking computer and do whatever. I wanted a location, a secure location. This place he recommended to us was called, check out this place called Creative Studios LA in Studio City. And we go and we meet the people who have the studio. It's a couple. They're awesome. We're still in touch with them to this day. They still kind of collaborate with us. but they had this beautiful studio with a brick wall and a couch. And I saw the couch, and I was like, to me, my eyes lit up like that's the arena. That's where the conversation is going to take place, right over there. That's where we're going to do battle. That's where we're going to change minds. That's where we're going to have conversations. That's it right there. So seeing that couch, near the wall, we just talked about it, and we came up with the name Combo Couch. You know what I'm saying? And it was just so funny the way it happened, the way everything evolved. You know, and we did 8 shows in that studio. We did 1 show a week for 2 months. That's how we started it. We took a break over the Christmas holidays, and then we built a studio where we're at right now. And now it's just now we're roommates, Fiorella and I,
Nice.
and Johnny. Yeah, we all live together, work together. So yeah, we literally are.
It's a great situation. I love living with coworkers, especially when it's. I don't like living with coworkers in the normal world. If I'm working like a retail job, or like if I'm working at Walmart or whatever, I've never worked at Walmart, but hypothetically, I don't like that situation. I've done that in the past also, and that's awful, because when you go home from work, you need to be able to go home from work and not take work with you. But if you work in a situation where you don't go home from work, like you and me, like we're working till 2 a.m. the second we fall asleep. We work until we fall asleep, and then we clock in the second we wake up, because there's already like 8 texts that we need to respond to. I'm sure especially you on the West Coast get it worse than I do, because by the time you wake up, we've been up for 3 hours.
Oh yeah. We wake up to a lot of messages to read. I mean, and it's all over the place now. Some people hit us up on Twitter. Some people hit us up on YouTube. I mean, I can't even get to the comments on YouTube anymore. And now we have Rockfin. So, I mean, there could be just multiple places with multiple messages. And the thing is that you don't want to miss anything. Like, the thing that's great about independent journalism or independent media or commentary or whatever you want to call us, or analysts, is that your audience can be such a great help, man. Like, you get people who are like involved. They watch you for the same reasons why we do this. That's why they watch us, because the why is the same. So then you have people who have who compartmentalize and have specialties in certain areas, and they can send you in a certain way. Hey man, get this guy on your show. You've been covering all the protests out there. This guy wrote a book on protests and what you need to do to have a general strike and get people together. Take a look at this one. Or, hey, we know this situation is going on over here. Did you see this? We get assistance from the citizen journalists out there that follow us and watch us. So we do try to look and read everything. It's just, like you said, you wake up, you start working, you only clock out when you go to sleep, because you live this. We are constantly working, constantly. Every once in a while, I'll pull myself away to cook, and every once in a while, I'll pull myself away to watch a hockey game. I used to watch all sports. Now I'm kind of limited because, I got to do a lot of homework. Islanders, New York Islanders, baby.
It's actually the only NHL game I've ever been to. Was an Islanders home game.
Islanders who?
It was probably about a year and a half ago. It was,
Brooklyn?
We were at the, we were in Brooklyn. I lived in Brooklyn for 3 years. So,
what part?
I was in Flatbush for the majority of it.
I worked at a pizzeria for Flatbush, my cousin's pizzeria, when I was a young kid on Flatbush Avenue, Kings Highway, Joe's. That was my cousin Joe's.
I know exactly what pizzeria you are talking about. I know. I've been there multiple times.
Oh yeah, I worked there my freshman year,
fucking love
sophomore,
Brooklyn.
and junior in high school. All my years of high school, I worked through there in the summers.
Nice. So I want to backtrack, because I'm curious. I want some advice actually, because I broke 2,000 followers on Twitter about a couple weeks ago, and the YouTube is actually starting to pick up, and like you said, there's comments just all over the place. Like my replies on Twitter are impossible to keep up with at this point. What how do you filter out the bullshit without missing the important stuff like you're talking about?
It's tough. I got to say that Johnny, the third partner, the engineer, he also does stories and, himself, and does journalism himself. He always calls he has meetings. He's a lot of structure. Like, he's really structured, He's like very, serendipitous, just going with it and just boom, 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 talk to the people, going with the flow. So that when we get in the room together, we kind of divvy up responsibilities as much to try and find this as much as we can. But you're never going to catch everything, and you're going to miss some stuff. Somebody texted me yesterday, happy birthday, it was my birthday, and they're like, hey, man, did you get a chance to read that article? And I promised them 3 months ago I would read an article, and I never did. It was about Hall of Shame. And it's like, oh, my Jesus, how can I, you know what I'm saying? You're never going to get everything. You will miss things, especially as you grow, especially when you're a one-man band and stuff like that. And, but there comes a time where you got to find somebody maybe who wants to work with you, whether it be helping you out with posting or whatever and stuff like that. And you'll find somebody who will be a Fite-ite. You know, he'll be a fight night, whatever you want to call them. They'll be into David. Ooh. They'll want to work. You will find those people. We find people all the time that just love us. They moderate for us, or you know what I'm saying. So if you find somebody and take the time to find the right person, that's another thing to do, because there are people who out there who will want to help you because they'll believe what you're saying is so important that they'll do it. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, we have somebody who cuts up our videos and posts them up. We don't pay him a lot. We pay him a little, and they understand that. But he's committed to what we do. The guy who makes our thumbnails, he's committed to our channel. He likes our channel. He loves our news. So he helps out and does our thumbnails for a good price. So, I mean, try to incorporate, be cautious about who you let inside your inner circle. But, you know what I'm saying, still, yeah, that's what I would continue. That would be my advice. And you'll probably see them. You'll have people right now that we know like who our top, we have our top 5 guests that we know, our fans or whatever, our followers that we haven't even met. Now we're trying to get out there and meet almost everybody. Now that we go around the country as much as we can, we got to slow down for the COVID, but we're trying to get out there to meet the people that, you know, that we love, that have been following us from the get-go. And yeah, that's my advice. It's just, try to find somebody who can help you do the best you can. You know, set out times. Don't be busy, be productive. Find out what's more important. You know what I'm saying? Always question what's more important. If free speech media is not doing well on this platform, and it's doing well on this platform, maybe it might not be worth the time to cut up and put up the clips over here and just concentrate some of your effort over there. Yeah. But the main thing is just keep going. Just keep going, and whatever you can do to pick it up, you know. I think you'll be fine because you're going to speak David Fite's words and your truth. You're not a full of shit guy. So no matter what, people like you will matriculate to you. I mean, that was the first impression I got. I'm like, this cat's going to say what he wants. He's going to say what he believes. He's not full of shit. So, yeah.
Well, I appreciate that for sure. Yeah, it's been a very fun year. So I started this. It's almost a year exactly. Next week is my my 1 year anniversary. Actually, a week from today was my first show that I did live, and I had realistic goals. I said like 3 years before I do any like. It's going to be 3 years before I'm making money off of this, was kind of what I put in my head a year ago when I started this. And so far, I still really haven't made any money. So, but thankfully, I had realistic goals this time around. I have a habit earlier on in my life and most of my adult life of being very impatient and, you know, really wanting to just get things done. And I always thought that, you know, I had the magic bullet to solve a problem and to make the money and to do the thing. And, you know, that's just not always how life works, right? So I at least had realistic goals this time around, and it's going better than I could have really thought. I'm having Dave Smith on in in about 2 weeks. Eric's former Maine State Senator Eric Brakey, Mark Pellegrino from Supernatural is gonna come on my show in a little bit. Like, just crazy things that I could have never have thought were possible to happen. You know, he's like people that I've just been fans of, like, as a normal human for years, and then now are interested in what I have to say politically because I have a YouTube show and have been, you know, like you said, just not full of shit and just talking my stuff for a year now, and we're gonna keep going. So it's been exciting.
You know what I just gotta say? I like the assistance. We didn't know monetarily what we were gonna make right there. Like I said, we started it. Let's give it a shot. We looked at it as a responsibility. what I noticed right away, like halfway through the first year, it's like, okay, we're starting to get this going. There are people out there that will, at the very least, assist us. You know what I'm saying? They will help us. We'll get a few dollars to go to this convention. We'll get a few dollars to go to this primary. We're gonna get a few dollars to go over here and stuff like that. That's the thing that's just so heartwarming, you know. And we've been talking about, like, a lot of people say, well, why don't you guys advertise anything? You haven't picked up any advertisers. Like, we're very cautious about who we're going to advertise for, you know, because we don't know that person's or their, whatever the case may be, if what they're, you know, what they're going to do. So it's, we tend to, we haven't looked for advertising and stuff. So to be powered, though, by people as a, you know what I'm saying, when people give you a Patreon money, you know what I'm saying, or they give you a subscription on Rockfin and all that stuff, that shit is just so friggin' awesome. It's like, mainstream media is funded by the corporations. They're funded by the military-industrial complex and big pharma and all this other shit, right? We're funded by the people. What Bernie Sanders talked about when he did it, the $27, you know what I'm saying? It's all that bullshit. It's something special when you're able to do that, you know what I'm saying? And closely to be able to do it for a living, we would have probably been at that point where, okay, things are going to be tight, but we can work hard, and this is all we got to do. We can spend all our mind and time in there until YouTube just pulled the fucking plug on us, demonetized us 7 weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? So now it's just obstacles. But you just. So
I'm never going to. Yeah, I'm just not going to apply for monetization on YouTube because I know it's going to get yanked super quickly with the amount of bullshit that I do on my show. Like, I would rather just not even have them be watching my episodes because I'm at risk of having my channel pulled for some of the stuff that I do on my show. So, you know, I don't even want to touch that. But you mentioned you know, being hesitant of advertisers, and I wasn't really to the point where I had people like reaching out wanting to advertise on my show yet, but I was in a similar boat. You know, a lot of these other podcasters, you know, even like the ones that I really respect, like even Joe Rogan or Dave Smith or Michael Malice, you know, a lot of these guys that I watch are advertising for like boxers and stuff. And I'm like, I kind of don't want to do that. Right.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know where that money's going. I don't know who these people are. So when I found out and got reached out to by Nug of Knowledge, I was really excited because it's an organization started by Dan Taxationist Theft Berman. Right, like he's the big man behind the curtain of Nog of Knowledge. So I know that, you know, even if there's some like shady somebody at the top is just getting rich off of everything that I'm doing, it's Dan Berman. I don't care if I make him a millionaire from selling weed on my channel. Like, I'm okay with that. You know, if he builds a company and makes himself a millionaire, like, he's a good friend of mine, so I'm cool with that. It was definitely encouraging to know that I don't have to really worry about like where this money's coming from, where this money's going, who we're funding, or you know, being sold out or bought out or anything like that. It came at a good time, and that actually it's new. We just actually started doing that this week, so I'm
awesome.
Pumped about that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, that it's cool. You know, I'm talking to a friend of mine, and you know. He's a solar power guy, you know, and he's a close friend. I went to his wedding. I helped his wedding and shit. And I told him, hey, man, maybe we can work something out this way, whatnot. Maybe come on, you know, I still have to talk to the team and present it to them and stuff like that. But, yeah, we're going to be very, very cautious. But that's awesome that, you know, you can sell weed. Yeah. I want to light up a joint right now. After seeing Go for it. And shit.
I mean, it's great. I came downstairs after a meeting with so I went back-to-back meetings between the Tongue of Knowledge affiliate program and then some of my guys, the guys that run Free Speech Media, and passing on the pitch to them basically. And I went downstairs because I'm at my parents' house at the moment. I went downstairs afterwards and I looked at my parents. I was like, I love my life right now. Like, why? I was like, because I'm organizing a pyramid scheme to sell weed through a podcasting network. Like, you can't really get much better than that. Like, I'm sitting in my bedroom selling weed online to my friends and raising money for legalization efforts across the country. Like, you really just can't really ask for a more fun and rewarding life than that.
what are the laws and rules as far as mailing it anywhere in the country? I heard you say something like
no, everything that we sell at Nug of Knowledge is legally classified as CBD.
okay.
So the flower is CBD and CBG. The pens are Delta 8 THC, which is legally classified as CBD, which Trump legalized federally. So it's completely free to be bought and sold like online across state borders. It's actually a very open market because there's supposed to not be any like psychoactive elements to what they're selling or what he legalized, but they for some reason added in the specification of Delta 9 THC, which is the most common type of THC. That's the only thing that's limited. So they were able to make they're able to make these cartridges which work the same as the ones that you would get in California that have THC in them, but they're legally CBD cartridges because they use the special kind of THC. It's a weird scientific loophole that they created, and I don't know why, because it was the Republicans. The Republicans created this loophole.
Yeah. Weird.
It's a weird thing. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. I'm just still confused about it. Republicans created a loophole that allowed me to get stoned in New York, while the Democrats are still keeping weed illegal in my very blue state.
Yeah, I know, right? Isn't that crazy? Because it's big pharma. It's big pharma. Well, it's also the cotton and lumber industry as well.
Mm-hmm.
They're still trying to keep every form of THC down because they don't want their products to be replaced by hemp. So.
Mm-hmm. Which is really a funny thing to think about, though. There's a group of people out there who are getting paid full-time jobs to lobby politicians to keep the cutting down of trees industry alive. Right?
It's crazy. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Our government, we're run by psychopaths, man, and they're getting away with it. The whole thing about the leftists, I can tell you that all these, because once again, when we were going through this whole situation in 2020 here, and we were going around, Fiorella was still supporting Bernie, and I'm saying I was assuming that Bernie Sanders was going to take Tulsi, and Tulsi was going to endorse in this whole 9 yards, and like I was fighting for Tulsi, but the moment that Tulsi was out and it was time to get in the streets for Bernie, we were there, and so many things changed where he just, instead of becoming a fighter, he became a sheep herder, and the stuff that comes out of his mouth nowadays is crazy and stuff. But I can tell you this much from a lot of the progressives I met out there, they're very much driven by their emotions. All nuance goes out the door. They lack it. They don't know about foreign policies. They think about when Alex Jones got the platform and we were saying, this is a warning over here. Even like, the leftists like myself who were going, yo, this is wrong. No. How dare him? He's awful. He needs to go down. The same idiots who are cheering on Donald Trump's Twitter getting taken down and whatnot. They're driven by our emotions. So that's why they keep them at bay. They throw something at the progressive base that gets them emotional and keeps them distracted from actually getting some sound laws done and looking at things in a nuanced manner.
Yeah. Yeah, I really appreciated the I like to call you guys the true leftists and the true progressives. Consistency is key to me when it comes to politics, and that's why there are a lot of people in this world that I respect that I should logically hate, and a lot of my friends hate, even Alex Jones being one of them, because he is obnoxiously consistent, right? Like he says what he believes and he is consistent in it, and you can count on him. But I really loved the consistency out of the left to fight for Alex Jones when that happened, and then we saw it again when Trump got deplatformed, and when I saw plenty of people like yourself and Nico House sharing stuff about like when Steven Crowder got deplatformed there for a little while, I think it was, and there've been a couple of other like right wing people who've gotten deplatformed, and then there's also left wingers that are
Tracy got deplatformed and whatnot, but like you said, that first they came for the homeless. I wasn't homeless. Wait a little bit. First they came for the uncensored, and then they censored them eventually. You know what I'm saying? It's like people on the left, a lot of leftists just lost their friggin' mind with this situation. And yes, we did separate as the true leftists, if you want to call us that, because a true leftist should believe in freedom of speech. And they should believe in a free press. They should be out in the streets for Julian Assange. But they're not. They don't understand it. Instead, they thought, oh, he's a rapist, he's a Russiagator, all this bullshit, and getting away from what really, really matters. And that guy exposed war crimes. He exposed the DNC. He told us the truth. And now we're going to be okay with him getting tortured and behind bars by when all the war criminals he exposed are out there living great lives and living it up. It's disgusting. And the left needs to get its ass. Really, to tell you the truth, a lot of people on the left in this country, a lot of my friends that I used to know, and I love them, David. I know so many people right there, the people I'm talking about that have their head in their ass when it comes to civil liberties, when it comes to the elections, when it comes to foreign policy. Some of them, they are the fighters in the streets. These are the people who feed the homeless. These are the people that show up at, when an eviction's taking place in the middle of a pandemic, show up in their yard with signs and whatnot. They make sure these people get showers. They do so much good work. They deliver groceries to people who are behind. You know what I'm saying? They do so much great work. But then when it comes to the politics shit, awful. And a lot of these people too, I don't know why, they fought against Big Pharma for so long, and now they're just completely trusting Big Pharma, and they're going along with these vaccines and getting shots, and they're bragging about it. They're putting it on Instagram. I just got jabbed. Are you? Hello?
Right. Is being in a like social media obsessive moron one of the side effects of the vaccine that no one's talking about? Because I have yet to see anyone get it without posting it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like even my mom's friends who don't use Facebook it's like they're posting on Facebook for the first time in 7 years to post that they got the fucking vaccine. I'm like, why?
That's
why
crazy.
Are we doing this?
Because they want to return to society and let everybody know that they did their part. And the mainstream media and the freaking government, they've been on this ruthless fucking press to let everybody know that we're all in this together. So what you do affects me now. You know what I'm saying? Instead of it being a personal choice, what you do affects me. So it's like, look, see, you need to do this too. We have to protect everybody in society. When it's like, dude, come on. Like, the mainstream media, along with the military-industrial complex, have suppressed every single talking point about treatment, about vaccines, about stuff like ivermectin. When we got the COVID, we took ivermectin. They're suppressing the conversation. So why would you trust them, the same people that you've been fighting against for so long, when they've kept everybody out and kept any dissenting voice just to have a conversation? They didn't want the conversation to take place. How are you going to turn around and trust them now?
Yeah, they have to shut down any kind of dissenting conversation because otherwise people would wake the fuck up, and they can't let that happen. But you're 100% right, and I love the conversation coming out of the true progressives, because it's the same as I actually went on a rant on my show last night. Or I did a half an hour solo show, which I almost never do, but my guest had a personal emergency, so I went on solo. And was an incident in Michigan where someone is in federal prison facing inciting riot charges for organizing a counter protest to one of my friends' protests. So this person wanted to show up with guns to counter protest my good friends, and so, like, naturally, this person should be my enemy, right? You would think they're trying to show up armed to counter our protest. But this person's in federal prison for it, which is ridiculous. And so earlier this week, or I think it might have been over the weekend, I tweeted something out about this person who is sitting in federal prison for Facebook posts. And so many people were like, oh, well, where were they during Duncan Lemp or something like that? And I was like, you know what? Probably actually rallying, but I don't know. I don't know this person. So, you can ask him after we get him out of fucking prison.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the important part. Like, get him out of prison, then we can whine and bitch about who is on whose side when. Like, the idea that, oh, well, he's not on my team, so I'm okay with him being locked up for a Facebook post.
Yeah,
is so ridiculous.
Yeah. You know what? We say it all the time. You know, we say stuff like we live in a cartoon, which we do, but we also don't play team sports. Too many people play team sports. And it's really got their, I mean, it will get them saying shit they never believed before. It will get them repeating repeating ideologies they never believed in and stuff because they play team sports. And I think a lot of the elites, or whatever you want to fucking call them, the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain pulling the strings, those people, that's the tactic they employ. You know, they got us at each other's throats and stuff. So it sucks and it is crazy. And, you know, the vaccine shit is, and once again, if you want to take the vaccine, go ahead, man. If that's what you want to do, go ahead and do it. But this vaccine passport shit that we talked about, it's here. And the fact that we have other people, you know, literally with the cancel culture and chastising people who choose not to get the jab, as we're calling it, it's absurd. It's
oh my god,
Craziness.
Can we talk about how obnoxious that terminology is for a second? Can we never refer to a medical procedure as the jab? Like, please, what the hell kind of you said we don't live in a cartoon. We live in a cartoon.
Yeah,
if we're calling it the jab, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I saw somebody make a design that said "the unjabbed." I wanted to get it right on a shirt. The unjabbed. You know what I'm saying?
Gosh.
And then they're showing you the card where they got the 2 signatures of the 2 shots, and they're putting it on fucking Instagram. Like, you dummy. I mean, really, it's like, don't open yourself up for that. Just, I mean, you can do what you want, right? Go ahead. But I have the right to think that you're an idiot to doing that shit and stuff like that. These vaccines are fucking, they were created too fast, too quickly. We don't know what's going on. We've suppressed conversation about this whole thing. And by their own terms, this ain't a pandemic. By their own numbers, I mean, look, less than 1% of the people who get it pass away. Most of the people are older, above the age of 60. Most of those people are obese. I mean, there's so many things that we should be talking about. And once again, they suppressed all the information about fucking treatment and prevention.
Yep.
It's a crock of shit. And people are dumb for buying into it.
Yeah,
but hey,
it's also really difficult. There you go. Do it, but don't put your picture up. But it's also really difficult because, you know, they're like you're saying, the death rate is extremely low for the virus. The complication rate for the vaccine is also pretty low, right? It's still also in the 1%. It's not, you know, there are some people that are dying. There, you know, some brain tumors and some stuff like that are happening, but you know, it's also still very low. But when you suppress any conversation of it, the fear mongering from the conspiracy theorists seems so much more real. If you're not being honest about the fact that there is a 2% chance that you die of a brain tumor after getting this vaccine, if you're just honest about that, because I think most of the people who are getting the vaccine would see that number and they go, okay, so I have a 98% chance of just being able to go back to normal life, vaccinated and not get COVID. All right, let's go on. Most people would still get it. But if they were being honest about that, the couple of news stories that disprove it's totally safe, there's nothing wrong with it, bullshit, tears their entire scheme down, and it props up these conspiracy theorists, and it's more dangerous.
We were the conspiracy theorists when we said, well, there's going to be passports. You're not going to be able to travel until you get the vaccine. And, you're a conspiracy theorist. Well, what are we seeing? Maybe the states aren't doing it. Maybe the government's not doing it, but they're outsourcing it off to corporations to do it, like the airlines. What are you going to do? You can't get on a plane without a vaccine, right? Because
how'd that work for the TSA? The TSA is private. Outsourced to the travel companies. How are y'all liking that? Y'all like getting felt up every time you want to fly to the next city over? Is that enjoyable for you?
No,
keep it up.
Not enjoyable.
Right.
We also were told we were conspiracy theorists if we were talked about other forms of treatment and stuff, like the hydroxychloroquine and the ivermectin. Right? I took ivermectin.
Yeah.
And once again, it's cheap, it's affordable. It doesn't really fucking have any tests that come back and show that you can get sick or die from taking it or taking too much of it. You know, I mean, we're not looking at other countries and what they did in Nicaragua, what they did in Peru. What you know what I'm saying? There's also a lot of vitamin C is another thing too as well. I believe they were doing IVs of vitamin C in certain parts of China, and that's why they weren't really spreading like wildfire too as well.
Yeah.
So and they suppressed all these conversations because they wanted everybody to be their lab rats. So now that's what we are, unfortunately. So.
Yep. Yeah, and it really is ridiculous, and they suppressed because they've suppressed any form of dissension. But I want to ask, because you've traveled the country a little bit more than I have doing this kind of stuff. I did 14 states in 2020, but I'm pretty sure you've done a little bit more in the last 20 years. If you were gonna get out of California, where would you go?
That's a good question. It's to be continued. We don't know exactly when. I did spend some time in Florida. Florida was always open up, and a lot of people moving to Florida. It's not that expensive. I'm from South Florida. I moved from New York to South Florida. However, I definitely would never go back to New York. Not right now with everything going on over there. I just, that shit's crazy.
Don't blame you.
I don't want to go to Seattle. We've had that on the map and stuff like that. But I don't know. I mean, if I wanted, I've also thought about like off the grid, mutual aid type of living. I have a friend in Arkansas, Jackson Fax. He's got a Rockfin show. In fact, he's the one who convinced us to go vegan, the combo couch, and we went vegan. But he's living in Arkansas off the grid and shit. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I thought about that. Like, oh my God, mutual aid.
Yeah.
Like living off the land and picking berries and making jam to sell or something. I don't know. I mean, I thought like that.
Right.
I really don't have an answer, but I mean, also too, where the business is more profitable right now, because no matter what we do, we have to sacrifice the business over our personal needs and wants. You know what I'm saying? We have to go where the business can strive best for us. And, there's a monetary thought process to that as well. Rents, the studios, all that shit, also where can you fly in and out of? If we're off the grid, but we have to go in one of the airports where it's 3 times as much to fly, that's going to catch up to us at the end of the year, because we plan to continue to get out there and be the combo couch, get out there and do what we do. So, I mean, everything is really, to tell you the truth. I personally, I got for the first time ever, I turned 48 yesterday, David. I got my passport for the first time ever. Now they're going to start with this vaccine passport shit. Like, are you kidding me?
Right.
I mean, I would sometimes think I want to go back to Italy. I don't know if you know this. I'm 66% Southern Italian, and I did my ancestry.
Really? I couldn't tell. I don't think your hands have been out of the screen the entire time.
Yeah, I thought about it.
That's at the top of my list too.
So yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Really,
I'm actually zero Italian.
Crazy. What are you?
I'm mostly German. I'm most with a little bit of Irish and Native American, but I've always wanted to be Italian. So up until my last girlfriend, every person that I dated, like from 15 to 23, was at least somewhat Italian. And all of my best friends were Italian. I've always been an honorary Italian. All my favorite people are, I pretend that I'm Italian because my little bit of Native American makes me tan nice. So people buy it when I say I'm Italian. I lived in Brooklyn for long enough. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna somehow become an honorary Italian. That's the goal.
You know what we say, David? We say there's 2 types of people. There's Italians and those who want to be Italian.
That's a fact. So I want you to tell me a little bit about Rockfin and what you guys are doing over there.
Are you there yet?
I am not.
You got to get over there now. See, the whole thing is that right now they're taking content creators in, they're looking for them, and they go on. They judge by themselves which ones to go on there, which ones will be. Sorry about that. Which ones will be kids? Which
California,
ones will be,
man.
Oh my God! Like, I'm outside and they're screaming. Shut up! But Rockfin is been our savior. It really has. And there's a lot of great things about Rockfin. It's a content creator co-op with monetary gains in the form of cryptocurrency, the Ray token. The Ray token is part of the Ethereum network, and the Ray token today is worth $2.15. Last year it was worth 34 cents, and they don't have a mining process like Bitcoin where they go out there and use little computers and suck the energy draining dry. They actually distribute out their Ray token based upon participation and driven participation to the network. So, for instance, if I get people to subscribe, if I have a lot of watchers here, if I have new people sign up for accounts and stuff like that, the Ray token will be distributed accordingly every day. So that is how we are staying afloat. They also do not censor their subscribers, their content creators. I got to tell you something, David. Ever since we started this stuff, and one of the things we started was the debates. I had gone to a lot of events. I've gone to live debates, and there was this one live debate that I saw that really caught my attention, because a lot of the rules are, if you give commentary over the debate, if you give your political commentary of the debate, it's supposed to be fair use act legal, because they're trying to elect the next president of the United States. And I'm saying, or the next senator, or the next congressperson. It's in the public interest. You're supposed to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. But I've watched a couple debates, and I remember trying to watch the Trump-Hillary Clinton debate, and Cenk Uygur and Jimmy Dore were doing it together, and they were debating over that debate, and it was like unwatchable. So I'm like, I came up with a system where we would have signs: a thumbs up, a thumbs down, a yes or no. And we would do yes or no, or thumbs up, thumbs down when people spoke. And then during the commercial breaks, we would give our commentary and get back into it, right? Well,
that's brilliant.
Even though we did it, because then you can enjoy the debate. You can see what's going on. And you won't lose track of the debate. And then there's actual commentary going on as you're doing it. People are giving their opinions about what's going on. Well, YouTube gave us our first strike doing that stuff. They literally took it down midstream. I mean, it was the second debate of the second Democratic debate. We did the first ones. It was 2 nights. And both nights we just had great numbers. We had over like 8,000, 9,000 watching for a newer channel at the time, when we had literally like under 4,000 subscribers. I think we had like 3,000 subscribers when we did this. And
wow.
The next debate we did it, they cut us off almost immediately. They cut us off on Twitch. They gave us strikes. We had the right to them and complain why. Eventually, less than a week later, we got our channels back. But the censorship that goes on with YouTube, like you said, don't even monetize it, because they're going to freaking, they're not going to give you the money anyways, and they're going to still play clips and ads and shit. They're going to say it's not suitable for advertising. I mean, you look at you have a green, yellow, and red. Red means no monetization. Yellow means a little bit. We have like red, yellow, maybe a green, yellow. So we're not making money off advertising, and the suppression and the censorship is just ridiculous. Rockfin was one of those things. Ron Placone referred us to it. We joined up. We didn't take it serious at first, but now it's like our #1 platform, and it has just been awesome. And we are driving a lot of people to the platform. Jimmy Dore just started live streaming there now on Rockfin. It's like a YouTube of sorts. It's actually cleaner. It looks cleaner on the screen than YouTube, and you don't have to deal with the censorship or the suppression. And people can also join in the monetary gains. They can go out and they can get themselves a crypto wallet. They can buy some Ethereum on Kyber Network and a couple of networks. They can convert it to Ray, and then literally, somebody I was in when we were in New Hampshire, and Ray was like 34 cents. A friend of ours who was with us, Mike Ungerleiter, he's like, I'm like, you want a couple $100 worth of Ray? He said, yeah, I'll take a couple $100 worth of Ray. So I had my personal Ray. I sent him $400 worth of Ray at the time. Well, now it's worth 5 times worth than it is right now. So now it's over $2,000, and he just sat on for $400. Nice. And I'm pretty sure. I don't know how you. I gotta know. I wonder how the libertarians feel about crypto. I would like a little more talks about.
Oh, we love it.
Yeah.
Actually,
right? Some. Or all.
Well, so here's the thing. They all. I don't know any libertarians that don't like it in theory. There are a bunch of There is a faction that finds it unrealistic. They see it as equally fiat currency, with no like cap in like how much Bitcoin can be made. There's a bunch of like super economics nerds that have torn crypto apart on the basis of that it won't work in the long run. But everyone likes it in theory, and honestly, we were kind of the first to be on the crypto game. It's very interesting. I found out this year really how much overlap there is between the crypto world, the nerd world, and the libertarian world, to the point where the first place that Bitcoin was ever traded online was a Magic the Gathering exchange site run by libertarians. So this was a site where you could like sell Magic Online cards and currency. They added Bitcoin to this. Was the first place that you could ever buy Bitcoin online, run by libertarians. So like those worlds have overlapped since the beginning, actually. And I actually have a lot of friends that are very, very wealthy right now because they bought Bitcoin when it was $7 in 2013.
Jesus. Yeah, it's 64 today.
I have friends that have thousands of thousands of coins, like that have put years of their life savings into this and are now retiring.
That's awesome.
Off of Bitcoin.
I was a little bit late to the game, but I'm telling people now it's still early and it's still time to get Bitcoin. I think by the end of this year it's going to be close to 100,000. I bet. It's right now at 63,000, 64,000. It just had a nice jump. I mean, it's nice to wake up in the morning and say, holy shit. So, I woke up, but obviously it's a little early on the East Coast, but I just made myself a couple G's today, like, because I put my stuff away and, I tell people, hodl, just get a little bit, put it away. But that's the great thing about Rockfin too, as well. That mining process, it doesn't suck the energy grid dry. It's just like any other crypto. It's about participation, throwing other currencies in there and everything. And the more we build the platform, the bigger and better the crypto raises, the Ray token. And the guy who created the CEO, his name is Martin Floriani. He was head of digital, I think, at ESPN for a while. So we do have a sports element. We're heavily, the platforms, most of the content creators on the platform are independent media and MMA people. And we get a little bit here now, a little bit more sports. So they're getting a high school basketball games now. They're going to do live, some of them and whatnot. And I mean, they're really just, they've got great plans. They're very open. They're very transparent. You can speak to them, you know what I'm saying, on a regular basis. It's a young platform. And we've been, like I said, when we take some out, we convert to a little Bitcoin, we convert to a little Ethereum. It's been a lifesaver for me. I can't believe that the majority of our monetary gains are crypto. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's bizarre, but it's also exciting and fun at the same fucking time.
It was a very crazy moment the first time that I got somebody to send Bitcoin to my my Bitcoin wallet.
It's crazy,
as a donation to the show. I was like, this is a real thing. I made crypto. Like, I make a living on crypto now. I mean, it was like $5 worth of Bitcoin, but still, it was like, this is awesome. Like, I made Bitcoin today. I'm looking forward to making more. If you guys send it my way, there's I think it's still a pinned tweet. I actually know it's not. My Bitcoin wallet used to be my pinned tweet, but it's not anymore.
You gotta get that Ethereum wallet too now. That's the number 2 right there, right? So you gotta get the Ethereum wallet. I paid for
I just don't advertise it.
Yeah, get that. Ethereum's doing great. I think it's close to 25 if it's not over 25 yet, and that's just awesome. Yeah. I mean, Jesus, we just invested when it was 18, so it's like now it's 2,500. That is fucking amazing. Like, people got to get in this game. And they got to understand it, and just slowly just understanding that, listen, I understand it's a fiat currency. It's another form of capitalism is what a lot of leftists say that are socialists. And I don't know.
Oh,
it's not
gross.
the end game. It's not the end game, but it is definitely halfway there. I mean, we still have to figure out what we do for the people most vulnerable on the streets that don't have phones or bank accounts or addresses. And I understand that part of it and stuff like that. But they got to be a little bit more nuanced. It's a transparent system, monetary system, where you can see what's going on. The rules are already set in play. We know what's going to happen and how it's going to happen. And it can't be sanctioned. It can't be, seized. There's so many good things about it. And it really does take the power away from what we talk about all the time, which lead to all these wars, the IMF, what I'm saying, the central bank. Because look what they just did with the Wall Street bet people. Look what they did. That was criminal.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody went to fucking jail. Nobody's being held accountable.
Mm-mm.
Instead, they had a little congressional meeting with Maxine Waters reading off the paper, and the dude from Robin Hood just
talking
saying,
about how to
sorry,
make
I'm
sure
sorry.
that people. Yeah, but the worst part is that congressional hearing was about how to make sure that Wall Street bets doesn't happen again, not how to make sure that people don't fuck them over again.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There was
Right.
one congressman.
Right.
I forgot his name.
It was how do we make sure that the people don't make money anymore, not how to make sure that companies don't fuck them over.
I know.
Honestly, you
it
did
was
touch
more
on
like
one of
that.
my favorite parts. Yeah. You touched on one of my favorite parts of crypto, though, and why I refuse to really do banking anymore. The way that normal people used to do banking is, it is so much better for the worst or the people that are the worst off among us, because try opening a bank account as a homeless person. I've tried. I was, when I was running for office in 2019, I was actually living out of a storage unit in Queens, and try opening a bank account as a homeless person. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Like, it's completely impossible. Try opening a Cash App account as a homeless person. Totally fine. Works like a charm. So I'm completely done with brick and mortar, like old school style banks. I will never have another account like that again. I just applied for an Axos account for my business account. It's 100% online bank. Gives you a buttload in APY in their savings accounts if you're like one of their premium. If you like meet a threshold, it's ridiculous what they're able to do because they're saving money on the brick and mortar locations that are useless and unneeded. And I say that as someone who both of my parents worked for banks and credit unions growing up.
Yeah, it's funny because I don't want to say it's funny, but we had a bunch of activists out here that when Standing Rock was going on and pipeline were being built, they were starting to say, let's take our money out of the banks that are supporting this, Bank of America and whatnot and stuff.
Yes.
But they were like, well, where do we go with our money? So they pushed to fight for a public bank, and they did, and it's starting. They got it on the in their charter and everything. There's a big possibility for it. But the fact is that when I talked to a lot of them, they didn't understand MMT and they didn't understand crypto. You know what I'm saying? And I think it was a lost opportunity there not to make sure that these types of entities are plugged into a public bank where we can get people more involved in cryptocurrencies and whatnot and find ways to, actually empower people where instead of going to the banks, they become the bank, themselves. Yep. So, I mean, people have to learn it. People have to understand what's going on. They have to understand how money is appropriated and, what's done with our tax dollars and how cryptocurrency plays into everything and, how that works and stuff. It's really important right now. And it is, like you said, the homeless person on the street does have a 10 times better chance of getting a cryptocurrency wallet or some money with a Cash App than he does getting a bank account. He or she gets a bank account. It is true. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, these are some great solutions.
How much easier of a charity that is to run, just like get all the homeless people androids, so that they can operate their new bank, their new quote unquote bank accounts. That's a charity that I could raise money for in a jiffy, right? Like, could you imagine how easy that would be? Fucking $200 phones, just handing them out in the streets, just like, that's easy. And that's the libertarian model too. The really important thing, it's the give a man a fish versus teach a man a fish kind of a situation. The important thing is if you're giving things away, it's not like the Obama phone where you're tied into this like government program. It's just like have a box of cell phones and hand them out in the subway. Like just now it's your problem. Go.
I mean, they're obviously that would help probably, eventually the more we empower people to get them off the street, that would be the great solutions too as well. But then you'll have problems with people stealing phones and shit and stuff. We know. I mean, obviously, like I said,
humans are humans.
A great solution. Yeah. It's not the end solution. We need to really figure out a way. The fact is, we had an interview just recently. We went to DC and for St. Patty's Day for the Fuck Censorship protest. Which, if your people, and I really want to get you on this, Dave, We own the website called fuckcensorship.net. We started the whole protest, the Fuck Censorship protest. It was the idea of like a general strike coming together. So we saw when we went to the Force the Vote protest and the Stop the Steal protest, the Assange people were there. Well, the Assange people showed up for the Force the Vote people. The Force the Vote people showed up for the Assange people. And we built this like coalition. So being that we have been censored, and stuff like that, we started the Fuck Censorship protest. And we really want to get some libertarian love out there to get on this situation, to join us. We want to make sure there's more right-wingers in the street with us, left-wingers and stuff like that. We want to come together and show that we have issues. And censorship affects everybody. And people got to understand that if they don't, whatever you want to fight for all those progressives out there that want to fight for, as Magnus saying, I was there.
I'll shout out Magnus.
Yeah.
Fuck since he's up in the comments and you can easily click on his channel, Magnus just started his own show tonight. It was his first episode. He started the same time we did. So go subscribe. This will be the last time we overlap shows because it's my last Thursday show ever, or at least at this time. So we won't do that again, but his first show overlap. But go subscribe because he's going to have some awesome content. He's a great guy. But yeah, he's out there doing exactly what you're talking about.
I made his ass speak.
These left and right.
I made him speak because I was
good.
I was like, you want to speak? He's like, no. And I gave him that look. And then like 5 minutes later, he's like, I'll speak. I'm like, you're damn straight, Magnus. Get your ass up here. And you know what? We caught shit for that too as well. We have the progressive people. I can't believe they hung out with a Boogaloo boy and this guy. And I'm like, shut the hell up.
Such a terrorist.
I know. I mean, I'm like, you guys don't even know. And even we talked about it today on our show. Like, and that's why we went and had him on our shows too as well, to back it up, to say, F you, we're going to call balls and strikes. This is about a class war out there. You better fucking bring your shit, because that's what they're doing. They're keeping us divided. So when you push away people like Magnus, what the hell are you doing over here? No, you bring them to the table, and what areas can we kind of get along with and stuff. Magnus is awesome. I'm proud to call the kid my fucking friend. And if any neo-progressive or anybody else wants to talk shit and say that I'm supporting racism or fascism, they can go eat a bag of Richards. I am not. You don't know shit. And that's the thing. You have to talk to people who think differently than you. The guy's a loving fucking guy. He's great.
Facts. The fact that this dude literally used to like sell hand-painted like nerd statues at festivals for a living, that's what this motherfucker used to do. Like, I love that about him. It's like, this is just like a total fucking like just loving nerd bro, who I'm also very happy to call a personal friend of mine, somebody that I also got to meet in my travels last year, which was fucking dope. And that was actually before he blew up into some crazy terrorist, most dangerous person in the country, according to Wire kind of person. But the idea that we would push away somebody like that, and then vice versa, the fact that I know I'm gonna catch flack for having you on my show, right? Like, I catch flack for how often I talk up Tulsi Gabbard. How often I retweet Fiorella. Like, I'm trying to get Nico on my show, and I know I'm going to catch flack for that too. There's just because, the fucking commies. It's like, even if you were a commie, which you're not, like, I would have you on my show if you're a commie. You're a cool dude.
Yeah. But even still, like, we've had Caleb Malpin on our show and stuff like that. I don't consider myself really to be a communist. Like I said, I'm a leftist libertarian, which I mean, I have some socialistic views in me. Like, I believe there should be a floor like Cuba where nobody's fucking homeless. But here, like, what I'm saying, we have 700,000 homeless now and stuff like that. That I'm not okay with. So I do have a socialistic mentality of sorts. But, once again, I kind of shine through with the libertarian thing. And that's the thing. Everybody kind of likes to put you in a corner or a box and lump you as a monolithic kind of thinking that we all think the same way. I'm like, do you think that Magnus has something from his head going to another Boogaloo boy's head and stuff, and they all think on the same page? He probably has so many disagreements with his inner circle. It's ridiculous.
Yes, that is exactly how it is. Yeah.
The same way we do. And I can tell you this much. The fucking Raytheon kills a hell of a lot more people than the fucking Boogaloo boys do. But yet, what I'm saying, they'll show up, they'll wag their fingers at these Boogaloo boys, but yet they won't get in the streets and get out there when we're going to the fucking networks who are the lapdogs
Mhm.
of these military-industrial complex psychopathic murderers and they say, oh, we're fighting for against racism. Really? What's more racist than our fucking foreign policy going around and bombing brown people, indigenous people in their homelands? Get your ass out over there too. These people are so fucking hypocritical, and most of the time it's just about their own feelings. It's their own insecurities. It's their own narcissism. Their thing. I have to wag my finger and show that I'm the moral authority over here. You know, we're the ones who get to decide. You should know better. Fuck off. Sorry.
Oh my God. Yes. No, don't apologize. That was fire. That's going to get clipped for Twitter for tomorrow for sure.
Thank you.
Honestly, you mentioned earlier that Fee was Bernie 2020 the whole time. And I know so many people that fucking hate her to this day for that. Especially Tulsi people. And plenty of like Yang and Marianne Williamson people and even like other libertarians that just hate Bernie Sanders with a burning passion. I know a lot of people that are like, Pasta's all right, but I don't watch the show because Fee's a commie. And I'm like, wake the fuck up! You need to know the shit that they're saying. Right? Exactly. She's more of a. She's a better libertarian than Justin Amash, so fuck off. Like,
yeah, I know. And a lot of
half
reviews are that way. Yeah, I mean it's crazy. And don't get me wrong. I even Fee's come out. We've said out the other day. We were talking about the Second Amendment when we first started. We were just like all the leftist libertarians. Let's seize all the guns. No, let's put a ban on assault weapons. Now you talk to us like, hell no, don't take our fucking guns. Like, I want a gun. I'm afraid of the CIA coming after my ass and shit. Like, get me a gun. I mean, so we have evolved. We have changed. Fiorella has, so have I.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, like, yeah, she's a commie in a way, coming from her sense of compassion, where she wants us to share all the resources and everything that's on the planet, and eliminate homelessness and, everybody share medicine and the thought process of, like actual information about medicine and stuff. And, she's a very compassionate, loving person. And that's because like I said, she's an anarcho-commie. And people are like, really? Is this such thing? You're an anarcho-capitalist. She's an anarcho-commie. You know what I'm saying? Like she doesn't like the government either. She doesn't want the government, the authority, this hierarchy that's controlling everything.
Right.
And me, I don't know what the hell I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, what the fuck am I?
I feel that.
But I mean, yeah, these people do need to get they do. And it's kind of funny seeing the Odyssey comments when you're on Odyssey. Odyssey's audience is a little bit different than Rockfin. It's a little bit more conservative leaning and library. You'll see some of the stupid things like, I hate tankies.
Yeah, Tom Woods
commies.
is over on Odyssey.
Yeah.
Right? That's the main name that I know over there.
They got its library is the coin, you know what I'm saying? And the whole thing that's cool is when it was linked up to YouTube and it was just kind of copy what's going on YouTube. But now I think they're being sued by the SEC too as well. Who the hell knows? Hopefully they'll get out of the woods with that shit. So,
Yeah. But yeah, no, I definitely can relate with those kinds of comments. We had a great episode. I have another show that I do with my friends Reed Coverdale and Stacia Wilson on Monday nights called actually we're in the middle of a brand change, so the name is a question mark, but it's currently titled Friends for Unity. And we had a great conversation with Magnus actually the other day where we were basically just discussing anarchy. The name of the episode is On the Merits of Anarchy, and just my friend Stacia is not an anarchist. The three of us basically are. I don't necessarily call myself one very often, but I'm almost there, and Magnus and Reed both are. And there was so many comments about like, why are you wasting your time on this socialist Democrat? And it's like, she's like barely a left libertarian. She's like a centrist libertarian. She's like a new one at that, like somebody that just kind of got woken up to politics in 2016 into 2020, like really didn't give a shit about anything, got woken up by the Unity 2020 movement, and then met me and the rest of us, and is like, she's still not even a libertarian yet. She's still like hesitant to take that step and be a big L libertarian, but she's brand new, and she's moved in like the 3 months that I've known her, the amount that it took me like 3 years to move like philosophically into the libertarian movement. When I joined, it was guns and it was drugs. Like those were the two things I cared about. Gary Johnson agreed with me on both. No one else in 2016 agreed with me on anything on really either of them. And so libertarian it was. And these people, they have no give or recollection of how stupid they were like 6 months ago. Like yourself, you're saying you guys moved on the guns issue. It's like, okay, so we can forget everything you said before on gun control, right? Like I'm not going to hold that against you, right?
Yeah.
And then also not be pissed off about the fact that you're not doing like hashtag recreational rocket launcher like I am, because it takes time, right? Like
yeah. It takes some time before I will put the hashtag recreational rocket launcher out there and stuff like that. I think for leftists it just becomes a quagmire of they conflate the issue of like how guns can go over and kill people overseas, but how different it is when its citizens have it to defend themselves or to protect themselves. It's what I'm saying. There has to be a separation of the two. You can't blame the gun. You have to blame the guy shooting the gun. You know what I'm saying? If you take away guns,
more cases than not. Yeah. And in more cases than not, you have to blame the person behind a desk telling someone to go shoot the gun. More than anyone else. Like there's some jackass. Magnus has a tagline for your 24 presidential campaign.
Legal Nuke Pasta 2024.
Let's do it. So, would you ever consider running for office? Is that in the cards?
I'd always consider it. I obviously I think I'd like to do this. I think I get more when you have your own platform and you kind of do what we do at the Combo Couch. You get out there. Your net could be bigger. You can make an impact. It seems. I don't know if I'll ever be able to make the impact as a politician that I would possibly be able to make. I think the sky's the limit with the Combo Couch coming over the next couple of years. You know what I'm saying? But if there was a situation where it's like, hey, man, you're called to do so. And like I said, the life responsibilities, I live, one of my favorite quotes is by Jackie Robinson. It says, life is insignificant unless it has a special impact on others. So that's why my purpose in life is to make that impact in a positive way, to help save lives, to help make lives better, including my own. But if I'm called for a situation where it's like, hey, man, you're called upon to take the duty, the responsibility to represent people in whatever capacity. And I see it as, well, hey, man, people really want to make this happen. They want to get behind it, because any movement you do, it just can't be, oh, I want to run. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be people behind you saying, hey, we want to run and we want you to represent us in that run. Of course I would. I would, if it called for, I really, in some ways, I want to campaign against Adam Schiff for Brains, who's like, literally, we're in Judy Chu's district, but literally a couple blocks over is Adam Schiff for Brains district. I'd love to fucking just campaign, going out there blasting that guy. It would be such a different campaign. I'd show up wherever he's at. You know what I'm saying? And I would just hound that motherfucker. I do protests out in front of his office all the time. I would have press conferences out in front of his office. I would embarrass him until he came out and debated me, and then I would spank his ass down. That warmongering piece of dung.
So if there's anybody watching who's really good messenger of progressive ideals who lives in Adam Schiff's district, you just got yourself a campaign manager and a great press secretary for your campaign in Craig right here. You go for it. You've got take the plunge, run. You've got somebody backing you already. Do it.
There you go.
Honestly, no, I really respect what you. I really respect the fact that you said kind of no though to the question originally, because I have this conversation with a lot of my friends about Dave Smith. I don't know how familiar you are with what he's doing on his show, but he also has, he's got a good following, a good reputation. He's got a good platform. He's one, like, going on his show is one of the key things for any libertarian politician to fundraise. People get a solid 10K, to 50 grand like out of just one appearance on a show, usually, if they're running like a real serious campaign and fundraising. Like he provides a real serious thing, and a lot of people try to draft him for the presidential run in 24. And I fully like, I love him as a person, having him on my show in like a week or two, but I think I would much rather have someone like Justin Amash running and going on Dave Smith's show every couple of weeks and being in front of 100,000 people, and that also growing Dave Smith's audience, and so it's actually 1 million people by the end of the campaign. You know what I mean? And like I feel like they're better as a team than as opponents in the sphere. And so I'm actually, a lot of people have been asking me lately if I plan on running again, because I did in 2019, and I'm in a similar boat. Like I work on campaigns and I'm doing this, and I'm trying to platform people that are busting their asses. And I don't I feel like there are so many jobs. If you look at the duopoly, the Democratic establishment has all of these jobs that you can do, if you, whether like everything from their fucking lobbyists to their media to their speech writers to their policy experts, to like all of these different things that are all centralized around one group, and everyone's got a centralized message. Meanwhile, we're all out here as like a scatterbrained fucking Lucy group of like 12 people here and there, like organizing our community activist programs so that 7 people can like clean up the park for like 3 weekends once. And it's like, we're not doing anything like the establishment is, and we need to start playing by their game.
Yeah. You know what? Sorry, motorcycle going by. I got about 10% left of power too, as well. So I might lose connection in a little bit, but the thing, David, is that when you have a show like yours, right, and you're now plugged into the libertarian kind of situation, and like you talked about David Smith and stuff like that, if you were to run for office, you're fighting for one seat. But when you're doing what you're doing right now on Free Speech Media over here on, Fight for Liberty, you can lift up multiple seats and help multiple people win. So we are the fourth estate, right? We're the fourth branch of government over here that needs to be done. We're the media. We need to keep people accountable. We need to get our news out there, but we also can help promote the candidates and give them space and airtime, you know what I'm saying, so they can promote themselves. So we can help multiple seats. So even though I don't necessarily haven't run for office yet and stuff like that, I felt like I've helped people get their message out there for candidates that I like. And I've also had on candidates I don't like and stuff, been able to push back, and so there is the thought process, but that's one seat. For me, on the Cabo couch, I can help multiple seats of real people out there get elected.
Yeah. And I'll have to talk to you off air about a fun candidate that I think you might enjoy having on the show. That is a super winnable campaign. But I definitely can. That's kind of how I've been looking at it. I've got multiple campaigns that I've been working on, and just working on within the party, and even some like major party like duopoly candidates coming up next year and this year, and some independent candidates, and just and other people in the alternative media, and just getting to like talk to everyone, help promote everyone. My friend Brian Nichols is doing a fundraiser for like suicide prevention today. Today's his birthday, so you guys are a day
Brian
apart.
Nichols, happy birthday.
We were able to, I mean, he's got a bigger audience than I do. His show is significantly bigger, and even his social media following is bigger, but like I was able to help him raise some money for suicide prevention. And because I have 2,000 people that give a shit what I have to say sometimes, and it's really like just the coolest thing. And I couldn't be more thankful for the opportunity to help other people, because like sometimes you feel like you're not doing cool shit, and that's why I don't do like solo shows anymore. Like I don't have time to research stuff. That's not my gig anymore. What I do have time for is to think of good questions and to have good conversations with people who are out here doing the work, and then go out and do the work myself. That's why I don't have time to do the research, is because I'm also out here doing the work. During the quarantine, I did all the research, but that was a whole different gig.
I'm about to lose power in about 2 minutes over here, so
Yeah,
I'm so sorry, Dave.
I was just gonna ask
I'm
you.
not in my
No worries.
studio.
I'll yell at Fee later.
Yeah, I
But
know.
I did
Yell
want to
at me.
ask you before we wrap up. I want to give you a chance to, give a little pitch about exactly what you guys are doing over at the Convo Couch, how they can find you. Your link tree's in the description of the YouTube video, though, so
I did see
people
that.
can click
I did see
that.
that.
But what else? How can people get involved? How can people help out?
Well, sorry. Hopefully, people can see me. I know it's getting dark out here. But just come over to the Rockfin Combo Couch more than anything. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we have Twitters. We have a link tree that David posted up so kindly. Thank you so much. And get involved with the Fuck Censorship movement. FuckCensorship.net. We'll tell you everything that's going on. We will have a day of action again. The movement's growing, and we kind of combine ourselves with the Action for Assange people. You know what I'm saying? I know libertarians care about Assange, free press and whatnot. So, I mean,
Yes.
we've also had an anti-war movement group join us too as well. So we're growing. We want people to get involved. We want people out there fighting for censorship, fighting against censorship, so that despite whether you agree or disagree with somebody's point of view, you should definitely fight for the right for them to say it. Because once they take our voice and they take our guns, we're done. It's over. It's game over. And it's a scary time right now. I want to remind people out there that Joe Biden was given $16 million from big tech. And when Whitney Webb came on our show, I asked her, I said, what would it be like if Biden gets elected as pertaining to censorship? She said it's going to be censorship on steroids. And boy, she was not lying. So come on over to the Rockfin. We do have a YouTube. We don't know if it will be up with just a ticking time bomb. So please come to Rockfin. Join the Rockfin revolution. We're going to push and see if we can get Dave on that network. Right now, I think they're waiting for shows to get a little steam going before they just take on brand new shows. But if you get a little, you're getting a little steam going now. You've been doing it for a year. But I recommend content creators to get on over to Rockfin, apply. If they don't get you right away, they'll eventually get to you. But get on that platform. It's a revolution over there. Let's fight for free speech. Let's say fuck censorship. So come join us, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you so much, David Fite, for having me on.
Well, thank you. It was a blast. Definitely have to keep up this partnership. I intend to be at plenty of events that you're at over the next years. So
I hope so.
I'm sure we'll be sharing multiple more blunts than the one that we got to share back in New Hampshire.
Oh hell yeah! They was like, "Who's David Fite?" That's the dude I smoked a blunt with.
Right. That's I wasn't joking in my intro. Like, you are, like, I tell people often, you can ask people on Twitter. I tell people often that I smoked a blunt with you and Nico House, and I talk that up constantly. I'm very proud of that moment in my life.
Oh, dude, it was a pleasure to meet you out there in New York and what you were doing and your campaign and just meeting, you know what I'm saying? It really was a pivotal time too. Like, it's different when you're like, a leftist fighting with activists in the streets and stuff like that. And the majority of them are drifting towards this kind of censorship, authoritarian kind of fucking bullshit type of way. And your ideology starts drifting towards other people. And it's people that you met out there. It's going to New Hampshire was a pivotal moment for the Combo Couch, for Fiorella, for myself, for Jonathan, to really just like learn and understand people with different ideologies and get into that arena of just talking to people who think differently than you. And it was an awesome time, and I'm glad I met you, brother. And congratulations on a year on your show, brother.
Right.
Keep it going.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. We will be back here in a couple of days, but again, do not forget to go over and check out A Nug of Knowledge and our wonderful little sample product. Again, use promo code UNITE. And you'll get that 10% off, so it'll come down to $20 for this nice little bit of marijuana that you can legally purchase in all 50 states and get shipped to you. So go do that. And then also, do not forget to follow us all over the place on Free Speech Media. The link tree for that is also in the description. If you're watching on Twitter, I'll do the thing. It's Free Speech Media Network. There is actually something going on live right here, right now, after we end this show. So go over to Free Speech Media and watch him, because I think that's Bill Barger with Don't Quote Me on This, and he's great. So go watch that, and we'll catch you back here next time. But until then, keep up the fight.